where we have a very big special guest. There was a major announcement that was made yesterday as to who would be the incoming pastor for New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. And ladies and gentlemen, we're excited because that pastor is with us.
I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like I can speak for somebody who's sitting in your section, who really feels in their spirit but has never uttered it out of their mouth. I'm tired of stuff dropping on me. God, if I'm going to go through, can you at least give me heads up? Can you at least give me a warning? Can you at least give me a minute to brace myself? God, if you can't do anything, please make it stop. Ladies and gentlemen, what the person beside you is dealing with right now is the worst storm they ever been in.
People Station V103. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Pastor Jamal Bryant is here in the studio with us.
Thank you.
How are you, my friend?
It's Christmas Eve. I'm jumping back, kissing myself. It's surreal. I never thought I'd be leaving Baltimore. So this is really it's an out of body experience to be in Atlanta again. You know, I went to Morehouse. So to be back here is absolutely amazing. I'm excited.
There were, Mo Ivory, there were 138 ministers. 138 ministers from all over that applied for this job. This is the first permanent senior pastor to come to New Birth since Bishop Eddie Long. We had Bishop Davis. He was an interim pastor getting us through the transition, but now we have the Reverend Jamal Bryant. My friend.
Yes, sir.
Long time, brother.
Long time.
Man, I don't know what they doing putting us both in the same city. What is God got going on? Frank Ski and Jamal Bryant in the same city.
Now, I've seen y'all together in another city, hanging out and doing your thing. So, I mean, what did it feel like when they said your name last night? You know, there was the build up to the announcement.
Yes.
And then it was the moment it was going to happen. And they said your name and you came out. And what was that like?
It's been a bipolar experience because Sunday I had to resign from my church,
right,
and couldn't tell them where I was going. So I started this church in 2000 with 43 people. It grew to 10,000, and then I get up as the founder on Sunday and say I'm stepping down, and couldn't tell them where I was going.
Oh my gosh.
So to hear the screams of outrage in the sanctuary, I was sad that they were sad, but excited about a new chapter of my life. And then to walk into that pulpit on yesterday, to be met with so much love here in Atlanta, was really comforting.
You know, when I think about it, how does it feel for you personally? Because you're leaving a lot.
Yes.
You know, your father set a standard for you.
Yes.
That I don't know if you can ever hit it. I love you to death, but I don't know if you can hit your father's standard.
I'm at peace with it.
Okay.
I'm at peace in knowing.
And then you're part of the AME Church.
Yes.
And now you're coming down here to New Birth that's not part of the AME Church.
I'm Baptist now. I'm going to get me a black 3-piece suit.
How does that fare out?
No, it's the reality is our faith is the same. We believe in Jesus Christ. We read the Bible, ascribe to his resurrection and his power, and so it's the same God. It's the same faith, and that's the conversation I had to have with my dad in making this transition.
What did he say to you?
He said, you've got to go where it is that you're called. God didn't call you to a denomination. He called you to a people. And when you're faithful to that, everything else is secondary.
I'm sitting here because, you know, for me, it's I was there with you.
Yes.
Like I was there with you in Baltimore.
Yes.
And I've seen the growth in your life. And I know the pain.
Yes.
You had to leave behind.
Yes.
With them people.
Yes.
How do you explain that?
Change is never comfortable, and that's why most people don't do it. The average person who makes a New Year's resolution drops it by January 15th because we get excited about the possibility of change, but we get frustrated with the process of change. And so here I am having to go through that process publicly of understanding that when you make a change in your life, you've got to do it, even if it is absolutely alien to everything that you're comfortable with.
Mo?
Wow, I know. I know. So as you leave Baltimore and you're coming back to a place you're a Morehouse grad, I'm a Spelman grad, and so I'm so glad you're back. But
Thank you.
what are the things that you have trepidation about leaving in Baltimore as you come to Atlanta for this new beginning?
Is everything that I know. Just last week, I received a Senate commendation for registering the most amount of voters in the state of Maryland. We have a charter school with 300 kids, K through 8th grade. We're breaking ground on a health clinic for the uninsured. We're buying 100 houses for returning citizens so that they will be renters. So to walk away from something that is established and thriving and to trust God. A lot of people like to trust God as long as they can see Him. But I came to New Birth and to Atlanta with no guarantees, but that if God be for you, who can be against you?
We're going to take a quick break and come back. Our phone number is 404-741-WVEE. Pastor Jamal Bryant is here with us. A couple things that you are going to be missing.
Yes.
So as a person who got here before you, I'm going to tell you.
Crabs.
There are no crabs.
I knew it.
Just number one.
There's no egg custard snowballs.
Exactly. There is no water.
I get it. I'm coming to your house and just lay on the couch and cry.
There basically really is no snow. You're going to get some ice.
I only got one question.
Yes.
Do they have house music?
Oh, my God.
Oh, yes.
I do. I do. You got to come with me.
I'm coming with you.
Okay, and a few others. We'll handle it. Our number, 404-741-WVEE. Frank and Wanda in the morning on the People Station. We're taking your calls now. Pastor Jamal Bryant is with us right here. He has been, he's the new pastor at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. What you think, Atlanta?
Sir Brian, I don't know why they're not putting a doctor in front of you, but I'm from New Birth. I'm a member of New Birth, and I was there last night when we brought you in. You are a powerful man, and we are looking so forward for the change.
Look forward to working with you.
Frank and Wanda.
I just wanted to say good morning, Pastor Bryant. Welcome to Atlanta.
Thank
we are
you.
so excited, and the city is going to be so blessed by your ministry and what you have to bring. We look forward to visiting with you and partnering with you, and greetings from your cousins at the Berean Christian Church, 2201 Young Road.
Thank you. Love y'all.
Love you, too.
In the studio right now, Dr. Pastor
Say it right.
Jamal Bryant.
Baby, they got on you. You put that doctor on there, baby.
Well, he has
Exactly.
it, so say it.
Yes, so Dr. Jamal Bryant, you were picked out of, almost 200 pastors
Yes.
to lead New Birth.
Yes.
Why New Birth? You could have gone to New York. You could have gone to Dallas. Gone to a lot of places. Why New Birth?
The reality is, I think people underestimate the real strength of what New Birth is. Bishop Long left an amazing ministry and legacy, not just for New Birth, not just for Atlanta, but for the world. The reality is there is no larger Black-owned landmass in America than New Birth, 270 acres. That's amazing vision. To see that Black people can go from sharecroppers to landowners. Now, what do we do in order to develop it? And so I'm here to really extend that legacy for another generation of people who don't go to church, people who don't ascribe to institutional faith, but know that there's a God and need to find a place to apply it. And so that's why I'm here.
You know, let's talk about some difficult things to talk about.
Yes.
One of the things that I noticed, and I commented to Mo this morning, is as I was watching the news or reading the story in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, was the reference back to Bishop Long and the negative side of what the controversy of Bishop Long. And you're coming in the midst of that controversy to take those people out of that storm. How do you do that?
First is... there's an African saying that give peace to the dead so that the living might find life. And so I don't want to say anything, and the world shouldn't say anything about somebody whose good outweighed his bad. And the wonderful thing about the gospel is that God restores all of us. And anybody who can look at somebody else or cast blame on somebody else, really is a hypocrite. Some people wouldn't think I should be here as a divorced pastor, but I'm evidence that God can use absolutely anybody. Bishop Long's legacy is so strong, so profound to know that every living president under his pastoral leadership came to New Birth. He was not just the biggest black church, he was the biggest church in the state of Georgia. Nobody can compromise or besmirch his vision and what it is that he was able to build. I'm honored to even be attached to his name and the greatness of what it is that he was able to do in innovation.
You've always dealt with your own controversies head on, and they've come fast and furious, right? And so as you begin to build your legacy at New Birth, what do you say to the people who think they've just come out of one controversy right into another? Yeah,
that God recycles. Anybody who's perfect is in heaven. But our theology is of such that you sin every day by thought, word, and deed. And what a lot of people do is they castigate people on deeds, but never think about your thoughts. So I say often, be careful of people who claim that they're celibate, but have sex in their mind. It's the exact same thing. Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. So if at church I can't be honest about my brokenness, about my weakness, about my frailty, then where can I go? So you got a whole lot of church people who are in depression, who are anxiety, who got panic attacks because they can't be honest in church. And I think that New Birth is going to be that kind of place, not where you are a massage parlor to feel good, but a physical therapy place where I'm stretched in the place where I hurt.
Sophia?
Yeah, I was just thinking, you were talking about all the presidents that, when Eddie Long was at the church, how all the presidents visited New Birth, and the one that we have in the White House now. A lot of black pastors, they went and they met with him, and a lot of people were upset with him. What is your take on the president that we have now?
My take is that he shouldn't be president, and his presidency is reflective of those who didn't go. The reality is today, Stacey Abrams should be the governor for the state of Georgia. And so this should not be a season where we fall away from democracy. But I'm going to make sure coming to 2020 that all of us are mobilized and we don't wake up and Donald Trump has another 4 years.
When I was asked in private several times about you coming, the things that I liked about you being picked was, one, I thought you were going to be the edge like Eddie Long was. Eddie Long had that edge, and he did things that were right, but didn't always sit well with people, but had to be done.
Absolutely.
And in these troublesome times, I'm just so tired of, sometimes I see the churches stepping back instead of mobilizing and moving forward to fight. We're under attack as black people in this country, and we need the empowerment as black people, to be fixed, to be able to move forward. And I've heard you, brother. I've seen you. I know you. And you don't play.
One of the things that's very critical coming to Atlanta that has to be discussed, Atlanta is the home of civil rights for black people. And a footnote, Frank, that everybody is ignoring on why Black Lives Matter is so important. This is the very first civil rights movement in the history of black people not led by a religious leader. And it speaks to the reflection that here is a generation that does not have any sense of faith leaders being in the street and really speaking up their voices about the inequity and the injustice of our people. And so the church is going to have to redefine itself and recalibrate in order to be relevant, or the church is going to be a museum.
We are joined by Pastor Dr. Jamal Bryant. He is here in Atlanta. Out of almost 200 pastors, he was picked by the board of directors at New Birth to take over New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. It's a pleasure not only to have him in our city, but to be able to have this interview with you today.
Thank you.
And being the first to have it. So thank you very much on that. Let's go to a call real quick. We have a woman that's been holding. V103, you're on with Pastor Bryant.
Hello. Good morning, Pastor Bryant. Welcome to Atlanta.
Good morning. Thank you.
I just
want to comment on your obedience. And when I was hearing you speak, when Frank asked you about coming to Atlanta, and you spoke with so much wisdom and so much power, and not even as a man of God, but just being a believer and having the faith and knowing that God will take you to a place where you don't know. And it kind of reminds us of Abraham. And I just thank you for your obedience and saying that over the airways where a lot of Atlantans can hear, because it might be a lot of people in that place. And I too was facing a decision at my job. I didn't know if I should stay or if I should go, because going meant less stress and going meant less work. But God had a purpose for me to stay put, and I had to realize that it wasn't about me. So I thank you for your obedience and seeing that it wasn't about you. You are able to continue God's work, and that's something that I had to do. So I thank you for coming on the airways and just encouraging other people to leave what they thought was better behind them, because the word says our latter shall be better. And not saying that everything behind you was bad, but just to trust in God and know that He can take us to higher heights. So thank you again for saying that, and thank you for these jewels and these nuggets this morning on the radio. It's not Sunday, but you're giving us the word. So I thank you so much for that, because it is very encouraging in a time like this, especially for us millennials with high student loan debt and don't know where we want to go in our career. But we can just hold on to God and know that He does have a plan.
You know, one of the things that you've been very instrumental in is bringing young people back to the church.
Right.
Why is that such a big deal for so many people?
It's important. This is the largest demographic of young black people who don't go to church ever. And what is crazy is that all of them say that they have faith in a relationship with God. You've got two things in a dynamic that our previous generation didn't have. The first one is streaming. And so a lot of churches are taking a hit. Why go to church when I can watch it on my laptop or on my Android? But the real power of fellowship is being in relationship. I could have called in to Frank and Wanda show, but to be here is a different kind of experience and encounter, to meet everybody and to interact that I couldn't get over the phone. And so we've got to begin to rebuild relationships, because social media has crippled our ability to be sociable. And so people don't even like turn to your neighbor or shake somebody's hand. Why? Because all of my dialogue can now happen without real human contact. And church forces me to be human. How many people who's listening have people call you and you look at the phone while they call, and then when the call ends, you text them, "What's up?" Because you don't even want the labor of talking to them. Because I'd rather text. And so the church forces you to really come into identity with your own humanity.
You know, there's been, you've said things on the pulpit that have people like using words like hoochies.
Yes.
And you bring it real.
Yes.
To the flavor of those young people in the church.
Yes.
You know, I can't wait.
Oh no, it's getting ready to be off the chain.
Talk to these young people here, because it's Atlanta and people are not getting into relationships anymore. They can't stay together. Relationships are problems. Why is that?
Yes. The best sermon out this year was not from T.D. Jakes. It wasn't from Joel Osteen. The best sermon out this year is from Lil Duval. I'm living my best life. And the only way I'm living my best life is I'm not going back and forth. And I'll just leave that blank right there. And you got to get to a place. You got to get to a place that I live my best life by not arguing about who I am, by not defending who it is that I am, or having to justify who it is that I am. My best life is not about the car I drive or the house that I live in, but understanding I am wonderfully flawed. And with all of my issues, all of my brokenness, it's a wonderful life, and it's not connected to tangible things.
So let's talk about your best personal life.
Yes.
So you are a single man, right?
Yes.
And you're coming to the land of beautiful women, smart women, educated in Atlanta. So, yes. I mean, is your wife out there somewhere?
We're not doing this today. Listen.
Oh no, you're living your best life.
You are in Atlanta, baby. Yes. Inquiring minds want to know. I mean, you are now going to be by far the most eligible bachelor in Black Atlanta.
My mother's having cardiac arrest right now. Here's what's crazy. I'm the first person in my family to go through a divorce. My parents, come July, would have been married for 50 years.
Wow.
So right now, my mother's in a fetal position, just splashing holy water somewhere. God, do it.
Right. Find him.
I've been divorced now for 9 years.
Wow.
Frank knows my former wife, Jamal Bryant. You know her. And I had to get to a place of not looking for somebody when I hadn't found me. And a whole lot of people end up in bad relationships because they're looking for somebody to make them whole, and they're not right. So my focus in this season is getting married to new birth. Getting married to a whole congregation of people, and right now, last night was our first date. So my focus is how do I really fortify that relationship, because that's what I came here for, not to be on the prowl, but to be a pastor.
All right, last question, Sophia.
Can I go back to something that you talked about earlier?
I don't feel good.
Oh, no, you're living your best life.
I'm trying, but I feel something coming.
No,
yes.
But Frank was talking earlier about you have the connection with the youth, and the youth comes with, not a lot of tradition. So how are you going to bring the youth together with the old when, you have the old people that are trying to stick to tradition and the youth people are trying to come dressed as you are and, taking selfies and all of that stuff? How are you going to bridge the two?
Here's what's amazing. Nobody can argue that Bishop Long was the most radical, cutting-edge person. So a lot of stuff that preachers have to fight through, I won't have to fight through. Bishop Long thought of it, he could do it. Imagine no other pastor on an Easter filled the Georgia Dome twice with 50,000 people. That was the first on the run tour. So to be able to do that for Jesus says that you can absolutely do anything. And so I'm excited about trying different things. Rudy Giuliani, when he was the mayor of New York, said, I'm going to try it, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to try something else.
All right.
And so that's really the mind frame that I'm coming to New Birth with.
All right. So I need you to do us a favor.
Yes.
You're on the show.
Yes.
You know the biggest thing that I do is the inspirational vitamin.
Yes.
But I want you to lead our city forward.
Yes.
With a prayer.
Yes.
Right now.
There's a simple prayer that I want to teach everybody in Atlanta that my mother gave to me my first day at Morehouse. And this is the prayer I want you to say every day for the rest of the year. Lord, your will, nothing more, nothing less, and nothing else. Very simple. That's all I want you to pray every day before you go in your job. Lord, your will, nothing more, nothing less, and nothing else. Before you go to bed, Lord, your will, nothing more, nothing less, nothing else. Every person who's listening right now to V103, and you are, in fact, tuned in, I want you to use the hashtag Frank and Wanda. Is that the hashtag?
Yeah, right now.
Use the hashtag Frank and Wanda. Let's make this prayer go viral. Lord, your will, nothing more, nothing less, and nothing else.
Amen. Pastor Jamal Bryant, the People Station V103, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We look forward to having on many more times.
I'm coming.
All right.
Yes.
All right, everybody. The People Station V103, the ATL's #1 for hip-hop and R&B.